As you know, I love to shop at Trader Joe's, and there's so many great snacks and different ethnic food items at Trader Joe's. Every single year they launch new items. In today's video, I want to share some of the must-try Asian food items on Trader Joe's and some of the items I kind of want to avoid. And also, I want to say this is the third video that I made on this topic, so if there are items that I didn't talk about in this video, it probably was talked about in my previous two videos. I'll link them down below. The first item that you must try is the Trader Joe's Squiggly noodles, and this is a different variety compared to the old red package with soy and sesame sauce. Yes, the previous one, the noodles are great, but the sauce didn't really work. But the black package, it has actually a different type of sauce. The nutrition facts is very different because it does have the sesame paste dressing. So we have the sesame seed paste and the creamy spicy garlic sesame sauce. This sauce is so much better than the original recipe. It does add more fat, more creamy texture and flavor into the noodles. Alright, so the first step is to boil the noodles. I usually take a longer time to boil the noodles compared to what the package suggests, but usually it takes about 2 to 3 more minutes compared to what the package says. The package usually says like 4 or 5 minutes, but it usually takes about 7 minutes. And then I always love to add some vegetables such as cucumbers, even some shredded chicken, which is super good. It adds some crunch and the nutrients and the flavor into the noodle dish. Even though it doesn't say on the package, I highly recommend to pre-mix the two packages of sauce together before mixing them up with the chicken, because with the sesame paste, it does separate a little bit, the oil and the actual sesame paste. It will separate in the back. You can shake it up before you use it, or you can mix the two packages before you mix them together. When I first made it, I didn't pre-mix the sauce, and it made it a little bit harder to mix it with the noodle ingredients. But other than that, it was super good, very flavorful. It is a little bit spicy, a little bit garlicky, and very creamy with a lot of fragrance from the sesame paste. Overall, it's a must-try item. Highly recommend to put the Persian cucumbers or other types of cucumbers in there and some shredded chicken to add that flavor. You can also add some onions and the cilantro to top it off to add even more fragrance to the dish. Super good. It's mouth-watering, and the actual flavor is very similar to the traditional noodle dish that I had in China. So this one is a must-try. Definitely is much better than the original recipe. If you have tried it, please comment down below. Highly recommend. Another item that I tried in 2024 past year is the ginger shrimp lo mein. This item is really yummy. I was craving for some stir-fried noodles, but I was just didn't want to go to Panda Express, so I decided to try out this item. First of all, it comes with a shrimp pouch with the sauce. It gave you a lot of the sauce with the shrimp pouch, and then you have the noodle pouch with some of the bell peppers, onions, the vegetables. You will first heat up the noodle pouch with the vegetables, and sometimes I like to close the lid and add a little bit water so that it doesn't get stuck or overly dry. And I put in the sauce with the shrimps. I would say though, they give you a lot of sauce, which make this item overly salty to my liking. So I love to put extra vegetables such as cabbage and extra shrimp in there. The flavor is really good, and to my surprise, it's actually very gingery, which is actually pretty good. I don't like to eat ginger on its own, or I don't like ginger in my cookies, but I love a little bit gingery dish in a Chinese food item. So I cut up a lot of cabbage in there and put extra shrimp, which is super mini, and I used a package of the sauce, and I love that additional cabbage that I put in to add a lot of crunch, and the sauce flavor is definitely better than Panda Express. It's definitely not as sweet as Panda Express, and Panda Express also put a lot of cabbage in there to add the crunch. Overall, highly recommend, and also highly recommend to doctor it up. As a frozen noodle dish, the noodles do not break down too easily, which is great. It still keeps the good texture of the stir-fried noodles compared to a lot of the other frozen noodle items where it's becoming like too easy to break down. Overall, pretty good texture and flavor, and definitely doctor it up. The next Asian item, for some reason I forgot to feature this in my previous video, so I gotta talk about this. This is the Trader Joe's Japanese-inspired chicken karaage. It's crispy seasoned dark meat chicken that's battered, and you just put it in the air fryer, and it comes with the Japanese mayo sauce. So overall, this is not a perfect item, I would say, compared to the restaurant, because I feel like the restaurant, the batter is not as thick versus the one from Trader Joe's. The batter is a little bit thicker than my liking, so there's less chicken compared to the normal restaurants. But my husband loves the fact that it's dark meat chicken, so if you like dark meat chicken, this is the way to go. Or if you prefer chicken breast, maybe not this item. So I put it in the air fryer, and the sauce is made with Japanese mayo. It is made with highly processed vegetable oil, which makes it very high omega-6, so not very healthy, but the sauce itself actually tastes pretty darn good. And I like to put this into like a salad and use the sauce, like the dressing that comes with it, for both the chicken and the salad. And overall, the salad underneath will give it a really nice crunch. I highly recommend to buy some sort of like Asian salad mix that has a little crunch and put the chicken over the top, put the dressing for the chicken in there, and the dressing is very creamy, so it's perfect for the salad and the chicken. Overall, I would say that the texture is really good if you put it in the air fryer. Very, very crunchy. The only concern, my only complaint, is the batter is a little bit too thick. I wish there's more chicken than the batter. What do you guys think? If you have tried it, comment down below. Another item that I failed to mention in my previous video is the Trader Joe's compound tempura cauliflower. Okay, this dish is kind of interesting. It's a vegan dish, and my husband has this love and hate relationship to this dish because he really loved that tempura batter, and the sauce is really sweet and a little bit spicy, really nice compound sauce. And actually, this dish kind of reminds us of the Ph.D. With the cauliflower. However, my husband does think that the cauliflower in the middle is a little bit on the mushier side compared to like some of the compound cauliflowers or from like a restaurant. It's a little bit more crunchy inside of the batter. So overall, the overall texture is very crunchy because the tempura batter is amazing. If you're like me who love cauliflower, and I like cooked cauliflower that's not super crunchy, so to me the texture is perfect. So I have a little bit of crunch at the very outside and a little bit of the softer inside from the cauliflower. And the dressing or the sauce is pretty tangy, pretty nice compound sauce. This is a really good appetizer, especially if you want to bring it to a party. No one would know that you actually didn't make it from scratch just by multiple bags. So it feels like you made it from a bigger batch. Highly recommend. If you have tried it, comment down below. And really great if you're vegan and if you want some sort of a compound chicken that's also vegan. The next dish on my list also requires some level of doctoring up, but overall it's a pretty good item. I would rebuy again. This is the Trader Joe's mini shrimp bao. When I first saw this item, I was super excited because I love the shrimp baos, but the bao buns are kind of hard to make, especially when you want to make it like super soft and a little bit like sweet with a little bit of flavor, but at the same time not overpowering the stuffing. So when I first opened it, I was pretty amazed for how many bao buns are there. There are the mini ones, pretty small, but it's still a pretty good amount, and it comes with the sauce on the side. The stuffing though is a little bit sad because it feels like each bao bun just has like one tiny bit of the battered shrimp. Yeah, this is the part when it's a little bit on the sad part where you need to doctor it up. It's the stuffing. Because before I doctor it up, it feels like I'm just eating the bao buns. The buns are actually pretty good. It's very soft, and considering this was frozen, it's actually pretty darn good. The sauce kind of reminds me of the Trader Joe's Thai chili sauce with a little bit of that mayo dressing that's mixed in there. The flavor is pretty good, and the texture of the buns are pretty good. It's lightly sweetened, pretty soft. Consider this as a frozen item. However, I had to cook extra shrimps in there, and with extra shrimps and extra sauce, it turned out to be a pretty good item. I love that extra meaty shrimps that brought into my little bao bun sandwich. So overall, I would purchase this item. I know you kind of want to buy some shrimp on the side and also steam or stir fry some shrimps and put extra shrimps in the bao buns, or even put some vegetables such as the carrots, shredded lettuce will add some little bit of crunch. So if you have been to like an Asian fusion restaurant where they put a lot of stuffings in these bao buns, usually they will put some crunchy vegetables and some extra stuffings to make it feel like, oh my gosh, this filling little bit overloading having that big appetite, but if you just eat it on itself, it's a little bit sad. So doctor it up, put extra shrimps in the middle and even some extra shredded carrots and cabbage or like lettuce. It will become a really good item. The next must-try item from Trader Joe's, that's the new Korean jumeokbap. It's a Korean rice ball with plant-based bulgogi vegetables. Okay, so this one is also not perfect. It has 3 microwavable pouches, so I would say like this one is not too cheap considering there are only 3 rice balls in there. It is vegan. The bulgogi in there is vegan bulgogi. Personally, this will be great if you are vegan, and I would say the flavor is so good. Every single piece of rice is covered with their sauce and it has a little bit of the carrots and the bulgogi. However, it is an item that's a little bit on the sadder side because they're not as much as the bulgogi part, but the rice has great texture, which is a huge plus. Like, it makes me want to take another bite and another bite. The flavor and the texture of the rice is amazing. Overall, it is slightly overpriced considering how many rice balls that you get from per bag. However, really good texture, really good flavor. Not a perfect item, but still I will rebuy again, especially for snacking or as a side dish. Super satisfying. I always like to compare the previous item with this item, which is the Korean kimbap from Trader Joe's. It's the Korean tofu and vegetable seaweed rice roll. So this is technically a vegan item. It's not meat, but if you go to other grocery stores, they do have the meat version of kimbap. I really like it because the rice with the seaweed has a really nice umami flavor, and the stuffings is kind of crunchy from the vegetables and a little bit of that chewiness texture from the tofu, and it's just covered with the little sauce. It's actually very flavorful. The stuffing is a little bit on the saltier side, but with the rice and seaweed together, it's actually a perfect combo. I would definitely recommend to buy this, and it's so easy to make it. The best way to make it is just to microwave it for 2 minutes. I do want to say that microwaving things in the plastic bags is a little bit risky. You know, sometimes when the plastic is heated, it does diffuse some of the fumes into your food, but as an emergency item, I really like how much stuffings that are in there in the rice balls, and it's a great stuffing, like filling to rice to seaweed ratios, and these are the bite size that I absolutely love as a side dish or sometimes as a quick snack when I'm hungry and I don't want to eat those chips and stuff, and I would just heat this up for 2 minutes and eat something really quick and tasty. Comment down below if you have tried it, and if you have tried other Korean kimbap from the other Korean grocery stores, and what are the other flavors that you like. Speaking of snacks, I just want to give a big shout out with these sweet and salty umami rice crackers from Trader Joe's. This actually brought a lot of the childhood memories that I had. It's kind of like the soy sauce flavor that they put slightly sweetness into it. It's very crunchy, but when you bite into it, you kind of get a little bit of that sticky rice flavor and a little bit of a chewiness from the rice flour aftertaste. I just really love that combination of the texture and the flavor. And I think I also really like it because this is a pretty authentic Asian rice cracker snack, and that I used to have when I was in elementary school, like almost every single weekend. The next must-try Asian food item from Trader Joe's is this dessert item. It's the Japanese cheesecake. I got it from the frozen food aisle, and I think it's kind of seasonal, and this is actually really good. Even though it was like a frozen food item, it didn't actually taste like it was previously frozen, but it's probably also because I haven't lived in Asia for many years, and it's kind of hard to find these like semi-sweet, not super sweet cheesecakes. So this is the Asian cheesecake that is not as dense as like the New York style cheesecakes, and it's very airy, and it has a nice cheese flavor, and it's not overwhelmingly sweet that you can just keep on eating this. Costco usually sells a version of this as well, and this one is basically very plain flavor and not too sweet at all. And if you want to sweeten it, you can actually put a little bit of that Trader Joe's strawberry jam or Trader Joe's strawberry or blueberry preserve, and then you can also cut up some strawberries or other fruit or slice some strawberries on the top to flavor it. The texture of it is just so good. It kind of is like that angel bun cake, but at the same time has a little bit of that density from the cheesecake, from the cheese. It's just so amazing. Very cheesy and also very airy. I love the texture. I love the flavor. I love the fact that it's not too sweet, and you can definitely add the different sauce or different flavor to make it taste better. Comment down below how you serve this item. Speaking of sweets, there is another sweets item from the frozen aisle from Trader Joe's that you must try. Is the Thai coconut pancakes. These are so good. There are two ways of cooking it. You can either put it in the air fryer or microwave. Traditionally, I always felt like air fryer should taste better, but this is kind of a thing that kind of tastes like the Japanese little pastry thing where I thought the air fryer will work better. Yes, air fryer does make the outside a little bit more crispy. However, I do feel like the filling actually tastes so much better in the microwave, and it's actually faster. So I highly recommend try both, but honestly, I kind of lean on to using the microwave for this item. So what it looks like is like it's a pastry from the outside. It's kind of that chewy rice texture with a little bit of crispy from the edges, and the inside is the coconut custard filling. It's very coconutty, very lightly sweetened. It's not too sweet at all. I could totally just eat a whole pack on my own. And this is a really good, like almost like a dessert slash appetizer item. Overall, if you found this item in your Trader Joe's, definitely check it out. And I think it's limited edition, so definitely stock up if you like it. Put it in the freezer. The next item is also from the Trader Joe's frozen aisle, but it's a drink item. That is the Trader Joe's boba kit. This one is the tropical green tea instant boba kit, and this one is a newer edition. It's like a summer edition, limited edition, compared to the traditional brown sugar tapioca pearl drink from the instant boba kit that's traditionally at Trader Joe's. That one is so good, so good. But for the tropical green tea one, it's kind of interesting that I actually really like it. It kind of reminds me of the passion fruit green tea that I usually get, that you can actually get it from the Korean market or Chinese market, where you can actually get a little bit of that passion fruit preserve and you just mix it into your green tea. So the way I serve it is I actually made some green tea on my own and then microwave the pouch, put the boba and the little syrup into my green tea, and I think it actually tasted pretty good. It's very citrusy, very sweet and sour, and kind of tart from the green tea. I actually really liked it. Unfortunately, my husband wasn't a big fan of this, and he believes that we should just stick to the brown sugar boba kit. Comment down below what you think. Do you like it, or do you just prefer the traditional brown sugar boba kit? But for me, this one is really good for summer after a super hot day. The next item is that something I like but probably wouldn't buy it all the time because I do think that this item needs improvement. This is the Trader Joe's vegetable dumplings, and this is the dim sum style. Okay, before you cook it, make sure you put some sort of steamer sheets or parchment paper, because this wrapper of these dumplings are actually made with starch and they will get really sticky once they heat up. And make sure the dumplings are not touching each other when you cook them or after you cook them, or else they will definitely get stuck together. But good thing that I did use the steamer sheet. I'll link the steamer sheet I used down below. And this is a vegan item where there's only chives and some mushrooms and water chestnuts in the filling. Overall, I do think that this is a super traditional tasting item. The traditional vegetable dumplings in China is definitely made with chives, but a lot of times in China people eat vegetarian rather than vegan, so they do use chives with eggs most of the times, but this one is without the eggs. So I think alternative is to use chives with tofu, so you have a little bit more texture, not just the chives, because after you cook it, the chives kind of get shrunk. Like it's the dumpling filling felt like a little bit on the flatter side. Another thing that I feel like is that it definitely need more texture and the flavor, so to make this item better, definitely make the dumpling sauce. The final critique that I have is the actual shape of this dumpling. It is basically the wrapper of the hagao with the crystal shrimp dumplings, but in the su mai or xiao mai shape. The shape is pretty, kind of makes the dumplings look like little flowers, crystal clear flowers, but there is a huge dough at the very top and it's basically flavorless. So without the sauce, it's just pretty flavorless and very chewy. It doesn't bother me, but without the sauce, it definitely doesn't taste as good. So if you're interested how to make dumpling sauce, definitely check out my original review video. But overall, if you are vegan and if you love the strong scent or strong taste of chives, definitely give this item a try. Another thing I do want to caution you that I make the whole batch, but I only ate half of it, and I was gonna eat the rest the next day in the morning, and then the wrapper actually changed the texture after putting in the fridge. It became very chewy, very hard. So if you do cook this item, eat it on the same day. Do not put it in the fridge and the next day the texture does change. Alright, if you have tried it, please comment down below. I do feel like this is not a bad item, but it's definitely something that needs improvement. And if you love or hate this item, comment down below what you think. Finally, I want to talk about two items that's a little bit controversial on my channel. The first one is the Trader Joe's Chow Time. This is the savory and sweet sugarcane skewered fried shrimp. Okay, I've had this particular item in a lot of Asian restaurants, and I always loved it. So when I first opened it, it's definitely smaller or thinner compared to the ones that I get from the Asian stores, because usually the shrimp balls are a little bit more fuller. But I put it in the air fryer just like what it says that you could do, and personally I just feel like the flavor actually tastes not bad. The sugarcane is actually pretty sweet when you chew on it, but personally I'm not a big fan of chewing on sugarcanes anyways. So that particular feature was not attractive to me. And personally, I felt like there were not a lot of shrimp chunks on the actual shrimp meatballs. It is shrimp with vegetables. It's a mixture of things, but I feel like it's a little bit more starchy than the normal restaurants. And it's also like, I can see the actual vegetables, and I love that texture and flavor that the vegetable brought, but there were not as many shrimp chunks compared to those fatty shrimp meaty balls that I get from the Asian restaurants. So overall, I feel like it's not a bad item, but personally I just feel like it doesn't satisfy me the same way compared to going to the restaurant for one, and it's just a very thin layer of the shrimp meatballs. If you have tried it, please comment down below. But personally, I feel like this is a doable item if you don't have the privilege to go to an Asian restaurant to eat that authentic chow tam. This is a kind of okay replacement. Just know that this is definitely not like what I would serve if I ever open a restaurant. Comment down below what you think. Finally, an item that would probably personally avoid is the Trader Joe's pad see ew. Okay, I've been loving the Trader Joe's Asian food items, even though some of them need improvement. I think most of the times as a frozen food item, they exceed my expectations, you know, considering it is cheaper and more convenient, and it's also frozen, previously being frozen and processed. But this pad see ew item is just because of this, I kind of ruin my appetite when I see pad see ew in other Thai restaurants. I don't order it anymore. So this pad see ew is basically flat rice noodles with stir-fried vegetables. When I first opened this, the flat rice noodles just looks like the little chunks that are looking a little bit sad. So you microwave it first, and then you stir it a little bit, and you microwave it again. But the actual flat rice noodles is just like stuck together. The texture of it is just okay. So if I'm gonna eat flat rice noodles, I'm mainly eating it for the good flat rice noodle texture, but this just like tasted really sad, and it's overwhelmingly salty that I kind of have to add extra vegetables to dilute it a little bit to make it more edible. But overall, I just feel like the flat rice noodle part, it was just not great. So I would probably avoid it, and this is probably one of the very few items, or one of the very few Asian food items from Trader Joe's that I feel like avoid this if you can. I feel like if I have cravings and if I can't go to a restaurant, eating this doesn't really satisfy me as much. So overall, this one I would personally avoid. Comment down below what you think. If this happened to be your favorite item, I apologize. It's just that I've been spoiled by a lot of Asian restaurants, and this one is just not doing it for me. Alrighty, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching and taste testing all of these items with me throughout the last year. And also after this video, check out my 2 other videos of the previous year's must-try Asian food items that I tried. So many different Asian food items from Trader Joe's, and comment down below which one is your favorite Asian food items, either from this video or the past 2 videos. I'll link it down below. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If there are any new items that you want me to try, please comment down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!